Controversial anti-crime group People Against Gangsterism and Drugs seems to be making a comeback in the Western Cape. PAGAD came to prominence in the 1990s and was never far from controversy. Now they've approached the Western Cape Shutdown movements to consider joining forces. But as Leanne Jansen reports, some aren't too keen.
It all started in the Kensington-Factoryton area, a small Cape Town suburb with a population of well over 12,000, fed up with high levels of crime.
We've taken every legal avenue there is to get assistance, right, with no avail. So now we've decided that in order to get the attention we need, we will affect the thing that the government pays attention to, which is the economy, right? So shutting down essentially is to stop the economy to get the attention that we needed.
Residents took to the streets, blocking Voortrekker Road, the main artery into the CBD. Their grievances, the sharp increase in gang-related crime in the area. Various other areas in Cape Town have since adopted this strategy, including Bonteheuwel, some 9 kilometers away. The local councillor there has expressed his willingness to work with anti-gangsterism and drugs group PAGAD. But leaders of the Ken-Fac shutdown movement don't share the sentiment. They're speaking on condition of anonymity for fear of being targeted.
I think with PAGAD, they just have a different approach to how to deal with these sorts of things. And for now, I think our group or our community would probably steer away from things like that, because everybody is like, they don't want to resort to violence.
Their reluctance stems from PAGAD's reputation in the 90s, accused of running an urban terror campaign. PAGAD insists nothing could be further from the truth, saying the group has been furiously working in gang-ridden areas with no trouble at all.
PAGAD has had the same sentiments as what we're seeing now. The difference then was when PAGAD made these calls, it was regarded as incitement to violence, incitement to vigilantism. But we are seeing whatever we have said over the past 20 years, it's playing out in our communities. And we've also said that this is a necessary process for people to rise up from their communities within the confines of the law to take back the streets.
Aurea invites shutdown representatives to partner with PAGAD in this renewed fight against gangsterism and drugs.
People shouldn't fear to work with PAGAD. The issue of vigilantism, that was a campaign run by those that were against PAGAD, be it the state itself or media itself. We don't want to point fingers at anyone, but this was the reality at a particular time. We're saying those that made these claims in the past that we are vigilantism or we are extremists, we're asking those authorities, bring the proof. But up until now, we maintain that we are a group of a movement that has only the people at heart.
At least 4 people have been shot dead in Manenberg and Bonteheuwel this week, among them a young mother and a 27-year-old man on his way to work. Shutdown leaders are laying low for now, but warn that fresh action is on the cards. Leanne Jansen, Cape Town.
And finally, South African cell phone companies claim their hands are tied and there's little they can do to reduce the cost of data. They've been appearing before the Competition Commission's inquiry into data costs and blame lack of spectrum and investment constraints for the high prices. Research shows that poor lower-income consumers are paying up to 11 times more for a single megabyte in South Africa. John Bailey has the story.
Cell phone operators blame the lack of spectrum for their inability to significantly drop the price of data in the country. They say it's been 14 years since spectrum was earmarked for their use. And they say the only way to drop data prices is to have access to it, which will reduce their manufacturing costs.
So our cost of manufacturing, if we can use that analogy, of manufacturing a cost of data needs to drop. The most important ingredient to be able to do that is spectrum. If you don't have access to spectrum, you're building more sites to carry on catering for the quantity of data growth, and you're doing it at a very expensive rate, whereas spectrum can make it a lot cheaper to be able to do that.
South Africa has some of the highest data costs on the continent. Advocacy groups say it has a direct impact on poor and lower income earners, as well as the growth of small and medium-sized companies. The cost of the cheapest 1 gigabyte data in South Africa is 7 times higher than the best ranked one in Egypt and 3 times the price of those offered in Nigeria, Ghana and Uganda. However, research shows that the quality of data in South Africa is better. Mobile companies say capacity constraints and investment considerations are blockages that prevent them from lowering data costs. However, they claim that certain operators are not using their allocated spectrum.
We need to enforce the ICASA regulation. Use it or lose it. For those who've been sitting on the spectrum for decades, when the country is actually facing a spectrum crunch, you can't reconcile that. So for me, the simple plea to the ICASA, enforce your policies, enforce your rules.
The network providers have objected to more regulation of the data sector, saying it'll lead to less competition. Indications are that government will increase the spectrum in the first half of next year. John Bailey, Pretoria.
I'm Erin Bates, and that was your Week in One. Until next time, from me and the team, take care.